this is your place to start if you need to start a practice, right? You want to get up in the morning, you want to do a little bit of movement. You always want to start with something that's accessible, something that's practical. So we're going to get a lot done in a short amount of time. And we're also going to be mindful that your body's just waking up. And so you don't need any props. You're going to move at your own pace always. And we're going to listen to your body as we move through these movements. You're going to start on your hands and knees. If you need extra padding for your wrists or your knees, of course, grab that. When on your hands and knees, you're going to do cat-cow, but we're going to do it very specifically, starting with the tail. So you're going to kind of articulate starting with the tail, sequencing it through your spine, through the lower spine, the lumbar, into your thoracic vertebra, cervical, and skull. And you're going to lead with your tail as you go back the other way, starting with the tail as you go up, into your lumbar, into your thoracic, throat, and head. Doing that 2 more times, curling the tail under, rounding shoulders away from the ears, lifting the belly up, stretching. Breathe there for a second and then slowly take the tail up. Ripple out through your spine and let your head and your throat and your chest get a little stretch. 1 more. Tail curls under, noticing where you move and maybe where you don't move, and that's okay. You don't have to make it like the most extreme curve. It can be a very long curve. It can be very gentle in its range of motion, but you are just trying to detail out your awareness of where you move and kind of the pacing at which you move all the way out, and then find a happy medium that's somewhere in between. From there, instead of curling your butt back, we're going to keep your head to tail really nice and straight. Lift your belly up, push the floor away from you. Keep that pressure through your hands and pushing the floor away from you. As you stretch back, letting your sits bones widen, keeping the belly lifted away from the thighs. Inhale here. Inhaling all the way into your pelvic floor, stretching a little bit there. Exhale, pull with the hands, almost like you're pulling them out underneath you to come forward. Inhale, pressing back. Exhale as you pull forward. Inhale as you press back. So I'm not rounding and I'm not arching. I'm just thinking straight back, letting the sits bones widen, pubic bone and tailbone reaching back, belly's lifted, pull forward with my arms. Take one leg out to the side, shift back there. Same thing. A lot of times we start to rotate here. We're going to try and square off the shoulders and hips as you push with those arms to go back. And pull to come forward. And inhale, press to go back. Exhale, pull to come forward. 1 more. Inhale, going back. Exhale, pull to come forward. Press down through your arms like you're pushing the floor away. Open the leg that's out to the side. That arm's going to open out and up as you push through your bottom leg. Take a big inhale. And then exhale, thread that arm underneath, rotating. And you go down as far as you can, breathing. And then you open back up. And because once is just your wake up, we'll do 1 more time to really get a little deeper. But again, we're trusting right now that movement and just moving in general. Bring that hand down, that leg that's out to the side, just wiggle it forward by your hand or a little bit forward of your hand. You're going to roll forward, really stretching in the front hip, letting your back leg bend. If it doesn't cramp your hamstring too much, bring the foot to the butt and really get a stretch in the front of your back leg and the back of your front leg. But you're trusting that by moving, you're lubricating all of these joints, all of these tissues, all of the fascia. And so instead of being so detailed, you're just allowing yourself to listen and pay attention and wake up, right? You're going back, and as you go back, the hips reach back, the heel reaches forward. My belly's still lifted, my spine is still long. 1 more. And then we'll find a balance between the front and the back leg. No elegant ways have to be had to bring that leg back underneath you. Take a moment in the center. Push the mat away, head, ribs, and chest, belly are lifted. Allow yourself to shift back. Notice if it feels different. Pull forward. Take the other leg out to the side. Shift back on an inhale. Exhale. pulling forward. Inhale, going back. Exhale, pulling forward. Inhale, going back. So again, not a ton, just 3, maybe 4. You reach that leg that's out to the side, that arm reaches out. You push down through your bottom arm to rotate yourself open. Breathe in there. Thread that arm underneath, allowing yourself to spiral through your ribs. Hello, thoracic rotation. And then opening back up, reaching towards the ceiling, inhaling. And then threading that arm again. And breathing there. And then coming center, bring that leg forward. And I'm bringing my foot even farther than my hand. And I'm going to go forward, bending the back knee, because maybe my hamstring gets a little mad at me for that, but that's okay. And then you're going to walk back and you're going to lift your toes up. You're trying to get this crease in your ankle, belly lifted. And then it might look like your leg is bent, right? It might be that your knee doesn't straighten all the way. That's okay. You go forward and you go back. And one more. You go forward. Anytime you want to hold and breathe and go a little deeper, you do that. You hold and you stay there. Maybe you think, I need a little bit more length between this sits bone or hip and that heel. And then you're going to find center and you're going to bring that leg back underneath you. And you're going to walk your hands a little bit wider than your shoulders and forward. And your knees back a little bit. And you're going to push into the ground. So I'm really pushing that mat both down into the floor and a little bit away from me to shift my hips back. Now I could easily, my shoulder mobility allows me to like collapse. But I really want to keep those hands pressing. Belly engaged, hips shifting back. Hugging my thighs. They're not touching, but I'm hugging them towards the center. Like there's a line down the center of my mat that I'm keeping my connection to. And then I'm going to pull forward, bringing my hips forward. I'm going to adjust my arms because they were a little bit farther out than I wanted them to be. Bring the hips forward and just hold there and think, can I find this plank without my butt or my back sagging? So hamstrings and glutes, belly lifted, pushing the floor away. Just casually be like, can I keep that as I bend my elbows 1 inch or 5 inches? But could I keep that lift of my ribs, my head, my belly away from the mat as my hips and my chest lower to the mat? And then press up and stretch back. Keep pressing to the hands as you stretch back. Take a big inhale. Exhale as you pull forward. Hold there in your forward position. Inhale as you lower down. Exhale as you lift up. Inhale as you stretch back. Exhale as you pull forward. Inhale as you lower down. Exhale as you straighten. Inhale as you stretch back. So you have a reprieve between each one. Pull forward. Get those hips going, but the belly lifting. So that midline of the mat, you stay connected. You breathe as you lower down. You breathe out as you press up. You stretch back. You've got one more like this. Pulling forward. Hips really come forward. Belly really lifts. Inner thigh to inner thigh. Bend the elbows. Straighten and stretch back. Hold back there and allow the arms to get a little drag as your butt gets closer to your feet and you allow yourself to breathe. And then slowly take your hands by your knees. Use your arms as you roll up. So you're going to roll your pelvis level, then your ribs, shoulders, head and neck. And then you're going to spin around and you're going to be seated. Your knees bent. You're going to grab behind your thighs. Allow your shoulders to rest down away from your ears. So make sure that's easy. Inhale here and exhale. Pull the belly in and up and allow yourself to basically rock back onto your pelvis, but curling the pelvis under until your arms straighten. So it's going to be a different place for every body. So every body is individual and the proportions are very specific. Hold there and let your shoulders soften and see if you can pull your navel and your ribs back just a little bit more. Breathe in there and then slowly pull with those arms as you come up. And then sit all the way up. And you're going to do that again. You're going to go taller as you roll back, rocking back onto your butt. Hold there until your elbows are straight. Breathe. Shoulders relax. Neck is long. Pull the navel and the ribs back a little bit more. See if you can get a little bit lower. Slowly pull with the arms and sit all the way up. Stretch your legs out a little straighter so you can flex your feet. Just let your arms be down by your side or out in front of you, and you are going to rock back with a little bit more freedom. You're just going to rock back. Maybe your ribs touch the ground. Maybe you just go back here where you feel your belly catch, and then you're going to roll back up. Your legs will just respond. So you notice my knees bent as I came up. They're going to straighten as I roll back because that's my hip joint. And then that affects my knee, and then that affects my ankle, right? So I can do different things because of this, but we're just paying attention. How am I rolling on my butt? Am I rolling across the center of my sacrum? Am I on one side or the other? Exaggerate it and kind of find out. Maybe you think I'm going to roll back a little bit and go to my right. What does that feel like? Okay, I'm going to go back and roll to my left. And then I'm going to come back to center and notice what that feels like in the center. Let your legs just hang. See if you can come all the way down to your ribs this time. Bring your head down. Reach your arms up towards the ceiling and bend your knees. From there, you're going to press into your feet and lift your hips. Just a little flutter, like your butt cheeks are just off the ground. Hold there. Let the shoulder blades drop back. Ribs and chest are heavy. You're going to breathe in here and you're going to pull on your exhale, just pulling your butt towards your feet. And then you are going to exhale and drop your ribs down. Drop your navel down. Drop your butt down. From there, you're going to have your feet, your parallel stance. So I like to bring my feet together, separate the toes, separate the heels, and that's where I want to go. If you need to be wider, go wider. You need to be closer, go closer. You are going to go back to that cat-cow articulation idea, starting with your tail to come up. You're going to exhale, curl your tail under. Breathe here and let your back really lengthen on the mat. Let your shoulders and your neck and throat release as you push down into your feet. My knees reach out over my toes. I reach my arms overhead, and depending on your shoulder mobility, your thumbs might touch the floor or they might be a foot above the ground. It doesn't matter. Just think someone's pulling your fingertips one way and someone's pulling your knees the other way. So you're creating this beautiful length in your spine. And then you melt down and you roll down from top to bottom, sequencing the articulation and movement, of your spine. So not so much your like one vertebra next. It's just in accumulation. Can it move in sequence? We're going to do that 2 more times, and then you'll be done. Exhale, curl the pelvis under. Hello, abdominals, to move my pelvis like that. Lengthen my back on the mat. Push into my feet to get my hips up so it's not my back and my belly leading. That stays back. I'm moving through my hips. Once I'm at the top, I reach my arms overhead on a nice inhale. Throat is open. Exhale, rolling down. I'm going to use my abdominals, but also gravity is on my side as I roll down all the way. Bring your arms back up towards the ceiling. And one more. Exhale, curl the pelvis underneath you. Breathe in. Exhale, pressing into your feet, lifting up, reaching the knees out over the toes, reach the arms overhead, and then rolling down, pulling your pelvis towards your feet so you create length as you roll all the way down. Bring your arms into a nice cactus position, bring your feet a little bit wider, maybe at the width of your mat. Let your knees knock together. Take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, sink and lengthen into the floor the most that you can. Imagining your elbows spreading wide, your shoulders and your ribs dropping back, your neck and your throat and your neck getting longer through the top of your head. Your tail and your feet are really heavy. One more breath there. Please congratulate yourself for getting your morning movement in. I congratulate you for starting somewhere, right? We want to start at these accessible points, something short, something simple, nothing intense or crazy, because you just want to establish the habit before you're ready to add on. And if you want to have more of these little things, I'm going to have a 5-day morning movement challenge where we do movement for 5 days in a row, under 10 minutes, and you can have this for as long as you want. So you could put it on repeat for an entire month, because it does take longer than 5 days to build a habit. But it's a great starting point to launch you into a nice, consistent practice.